Hello, my dear friends. This is Rabbi Aharon Dobinsky coming to you today from the holy city of Yerushalayim in the beautiful state of Israel. And may I say, because now I know I have the time to do this today, I wish you all a good Shabbos in advance, just in case I should forget at the end today. Let me ask you a question. What do you want? What do you want out of life? I think that there are things that we want because they're necessities in our way of thinking. There are other things we want because we just want them. The necessities are the things that make our lives have a certain quality, makes us move forward and look forward to each and every day. For example, you have family, you have a wife, a husband, children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, uncles, cousins. You have peace with all these people. They love you, you love them. None of you misses any meals. You all have a shelter over your head. What do you want? This is great. This makes for a life of fulfillment, of love, of fulfillment, and happiness. So, what else do you want? Oh, you wanted to have a lot of money. Well, that's nice. It's a nice thing to do. Do you need it? Well, you need enough to buy food. You need enough to pay your rent. Do you need a palatial home? No, you want one maybe, but you don't need one. It's on your wish list. It's something that you might be able to evolve to later. It might come to you, it might not. However, if it doesn't come to you, does it take anything away from having a healthy family that you love, that loves you, and that can provide for themselves in a way that they're not starving, that they're, in a word, comfortable. And comfortable, the word is overly used in our lifetimes, and it's used to mean somebody who has a lot of money. That's not comfortable. That's beyond comfortable. Comfortable means you're healthy, your family's healthy, they love you, you love them, life is good, nobody's missing meals, nobody's has a problem with shelter, everything is working out the way you're supposed to do it. But we've been talking about this over the last several weeks, and I want to talk to you about something today especially because this is chapter Parsha Ekev, and Parsha Ekev gives you specifics. I know, I've always given you the idea, the basics. This is what you get, this is what you give, and that's how it works. But this week's Parsha actually gets into specifics. And if you watch what it says and listen to what it says, you'll understand it's a really good deal, and we should not reject it for a moment. We should not push it away. We should cleave to it, hold it close to us, because this is the life that we were meant to live. Give you an example. Let's start with the easiest. And now Israel. By the way, remember when I say Israel, it's not necessarily Jewish people, but it's people who believe in Torah, who believe in the Bible, the way it was written, not the way they like to interpret it, the way it was actually written. Okay, so it says, now Israel, what does Hashem your God ask of you but to fear Hashem your God, to go in all his ways, to love him, to serve Hashem your God with all your heart, with all your soul, to keep his commandments of Hashem and his statutes, which I command you today for your benefit. Right? This is something that people sometimes have trouble coming to grips with. That the commandments you've been given are not to make your life miserable. They're to be for your benefit. How is that? Sometimes sometimes it's very apparent to us how it is. We eat better because of laws of kashrus. That's a kind of a given. There are other things that in our life which we can say, absolutely, that's important, and say, this is important. It is for our benefit. And there are the other things. The other of the 613 mitzvot that we're commanded to do. Some of which we look at and think, God, that's burdensome. And sometimes it does seem that way. Does it mean it's wrong? No, it does not mean it's wrong. A lot of things are burdensome. This week, in the Olympic Games, which most of us don't even follow anymore, but this was a story that came out which just had to be followed. One of the young women on the gymnastics team just decided she didn't want to do it anymore for mental health reasons. Okay, now this woman has competed before. She knows what it takes mentally to do it. She's been doing it. She knows what it takes mentally to compete in the competition to even get on the Olympics team. She went through all these things, and when the time came for her to do her thing, she punked out. Sorry, that's all it is. And she's being lauded as a hero by members of her team and others. She's not a hero. She let her team down. She let her country down because she just couldn't get herself to do what she's done for years. And when the time came to do it one more time, she just couldn't bring herself to do it. This is not laudatory. This is not something you get an award for. This is not something that you say, oh, wow, they're so brave that they could do it. No, this is not bravery. Bravery is stepping up when you don't feel like it, when your mind is really working hard to get you there, to get you in the right frame of mind to do what you need to do, and then you do it, whether you want to at that moment or not, whether you feel uncomfortable at that moment or not. You have an obligation. You took the time to do the things that got you where you got, only to quit at the time when what it was required of you was asked. So we have things like that in Torah. There are things we simply do not want to do. I'm about tshuva. I hate to say Baal Tshuva. I am a Hoser B'Tshuva. It means I returned. And only within the last 15 years or so. For all my life, I thought I was pretty religious, aside from the fact that I used to love to eat bacon. And when I say I love to eat it, I mean I love to eat it. I haven't had it in so long, I actually can't hardly remember what it tastes like. But that's not the point. The point is, it's not in my mindset to even think about, what if I just did it once? What if I just did it this time? You have to remember that the way that our things are set up, if you do something once, it's difficult. You do something once, you do something twice, it's almost as if it's permitted to you. By the third time, you see nothing wrong with it anymore. And that's not the life we want to live, because we've been told what we can expect to receive if we do what we're supposed to do. So let's go a little bit further. I hope you don't mind my reading, because this way I forget nothing. Hayayim Shemoah. For those of you who are familiar with the Shema, this is where the second paragraph comes from. And it will be that if listening, you will listen to my commandments that I command you today, to love Hashem your God, to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. Then I shall provide the rain of your land in its time, the early rain, the late rain. You shall bring in your grain, your wine, your oil. I shall provide grass in your field for your animals, and you will eat and you will be satisfied, which is what we want to be, is satisfied. And finally, and just as important, if observing, you will observe all this commandment that I command you, to perform it, to love Hashem your God, to go in all his ways, and to cleave to him. Hashem will drive out all nations from before you. You will drive out nations greater than and mightier than you. No man will stand up before you. Hashem your God will set your terror and your fear on the face of the entire land where you will tread, as he spoke to you. Wow, 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 wow. You get that? This is a really great deal. Why are we not jumping at it and going, yeah, we'll do this. Well, some of us are. Or some of us are trying to do our best. And then there are some out there who just don't care at all. And I got to believe it's because either one or two things happens. One, they just don't care to have a life that's that good, which is ridiculous. Everybody wants a life that's that good. Or two, they don't believe it. They don't believe that the creator of the universe would be able to promise and deliver on all things that were said here. But trust me, my friends, he can promise, he promises and he delivers. I came to Israel 10 years ago. I had never been here before. I was 60 years old at the time. Since I'd never been here before, I didn't speak the language. I still speak it very poorly. And I knew nobody. I had nobody to help me. Oh, yeah, you caught me. I did have somebody to help me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was right there with me every step of the way and took me through 10 years of being here. Never once did he let me down. Why? What am I so special? Nothing, but he sees me trying. It's like with your children. You have a small child and you're just beginning to learn to walk. At what point do you say, you know what? I give up. This kid will never walk. And you just let him just flounder. Never. You never give up on your children. We were created in the image of Hashem. That means we have this feeling about our children because he has that feeling about his children. He wants us to succeed. He's given us the reasons to succeed. He's told us what we will get if we succeed. Oh my gosh, it's a great thing. We should be able to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll do everything. Yeah, some of the things might be a little bit tough. Some of the things might be hard, but let me ask you something. If you're standing on the corner of 42nd Street and Park Avenue in New York, and you see the traffic whizzing by, whizzing by, whizzing by, and you're distracted by something, and you have to take a step into traffic, and somebody goes, no, don't do that. He just saved your life. All right. It's not what you wanted to hear. It was an uncomfortable feeling for you, but it made it so that you could have another day. Well, that's how the Torah is. It makes it so you can have another day. You don't have to take it on all at once. It'd be great if you could, but very hard to do. Take it on piece by piece by piece, and one day you will look back and you will say, wow, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was. And it doesn't make my life miserable, it makes my life better. And that's what you want. You want a life of joy, love, and fulfillment. And this can bring it to you. Not to mention it can bring your own personal redemption, which leads to the final redemption, which brings the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu. And the third, Beit HaMikdash, B'meirav Yomeinu. My friends, again, have a great Shabbos, a great week ahead. Learn how to work with the Creator because He's a great partner to have. And your life, I can promise you, will be full of love, joy, and fulfillment. Be well. God bless. All the best.